hands washed and I'm ready to get started. So just to go over the ingredients, I have dry lasagna noodles. I tried the ones that you are no cook and you just put them in and they cook in the oven, but I don't think they come out very good. Wouldn't recommend it. These ones are going to get boiled. So we are going to need a pot of pretty big pot of boiling water because they're large noodles. So this is cooking spray I'm going to use to spray the pan. I'm going to put my lasagna in. I have ground beef for the sauce. I'm going to use ground beef, marinara sauce, just a jar, but I'm going to flavor it. I'm going to add some salt and pepper, garlic. This one's easy because they're already peeled. So I'm going to make a very basic meat sauce for my lasagna. I'm going to use a marinara sauce, ground beef. I'm going to season with salt and pepper, and I'm going to use this, which is a Italian seasoning blend. Cuts down on the time of gathering up a whole bunch of different spices. And then I'm going to add an onion, so I'm going to have to cook the onion and then add the meat and the seasonings. Once all the meat is cooked, then I will add the sauce. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got my pot out. I'm going to start the water boiling. This is going to take a long time because it's a big, good sized pot. I like this one. It has a lid and it has a strainer inside. You could use a regular pot and then strain into a colander, but this is nice. I just take it over the sink and I drain it right then and there. So it says on the box that you're going to need 4 to 6 quarts of water. So that's how much water I'm going to need to add. So we're going to measure today so that you'll know about how much water that is. If with experience you don't need to measure, you can just kind of guess. If you've made it before, then you would know, measure at one time. You kind of got the idea, use the same pot over and over. You won't have to keep measuring it. So a quart is 32 ounces, which is also 4 measuring cups. So I need to add between 4 and 6 of these. So I'm going to pour this into my pot and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So I have my pot here and it filled it about half full with water. I use 6 cups instead of 4 cups because it takes a little extra room because of this this strainer insert inside of the pot. So to peel my onion, first thing I do is I cut both ends off, and then I'm just going to cut the onion in half, like so, and that makes it easy to peel. So I just peel off the outer layer. So once I peel my onion, then I'm going to slice it. So my slices are going to come out like this. I'm going to slice the direction of the rings. Since it's cut in half, it's easier to slice than it would be whole because it's able to stay flat. So once I slice the onion one direction, then I'm going to slice it the other direction with the knife to get little small pieces that we're going to cook. If you're not experienced with cutting, you could just do one slice at a time and cut that. It'll be easier than trying to hold multiple slices. So to cut up my garlic, I'm just going to take thin little slices to start with. And then once I get it all, so once I got my garlic in the small little pieces, then I'm just going to chop them. Just going to kind of set it down, and just kind of work the board, slide it together, cut some more. And there's my garlic, so I'm going to add that to my pot with the onions. So I've cooked my onions, and now I'm going to add the ground beef and cook that in. as well as my seasonings. So I'm over here at the stove. I'm cooking in my hamburger meat. I'm going to let it cook in, and then I'm going to season it. This is what is called a rolling boil. Spot. So I'm working my way around the pot so they don't all end up in the same spot. As I start adding them, as they get soft, they're going to start sinking down into the water. Notice I keep my hands out at the edge. Notice I keep my hands out at the edge. I don't put them over the pot where it's hot. So I'm cooking my noodles. I'm just going to kind of like gently push them down into the water. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to let it boil for about 4 minutes, and then I'm going to check and make sure they're not stuck together. Meanwhile, I turn the temperature up on my meat because I want to sear the meat. So I'm going to season the taste. I don't want to add too much salt because I'm using processed cheese, which is the ricotta cheese, which has been processed. I'm using a can of marinara sauce. So the ingredients that I'm using contain salt. So anytime you open a can, just remember there's probably salt added as a preservative. There's salt in cheese, so not too much on the salt. Be careful about that. Then I'm going to add some of my Italian seasoning. This you could be a little bit more generous. And I'm going to add a little bit of pepper. So if you want to measure, I would say 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, about a half a teaspoon of salt, and about a 1/4 teaspoon pepper. Okay, now I'm going to check on my noodles. When I open the pot, I'm going to turn it away from me because I do not want to burn myself with the steam that's coming out of it. So let me show you again. I just kind of pulled this away backwards. Then to check my noodles, I have some tongs. I'm just going to set the tongs in there and just kind of gently check my noodles, move them around, make sure they're not getting all stuck together. My lid back on, let it cook a little bit more. So I like to thicken my meat sauce for lasagna so it holds up better and it is easier to slice. So I can do that with tomato paste, but if I don't have all the ingredients, one way to thicken a sauce is cornstarch. So I'm going to show you how to do cornstarch. We sometimes use that for chili beans and a variety of other dishes that we want a little thicker. So I just get a spoon, add a spoonful of cornstarch into a little bowl, and then I'm going to add warm water to it and mix it around. So I'm just going to kind of dissolve my cornstarch into the water. I do it this way, and we can just kind of pour that in here. Pour it right in with the meat. Then I'm going to add my jar of marinara sauce. Now that I added the sauce, I'm going to turn down the temperature to about medium. So in the meantime, it looks like my noodles are almost done. So when I look at the noodles, they look like they're a little bit soft, but I don't want them chewy. So I need to get them towards it. They usually, when they're cooked, they look a little bit whiter. They start out yellow, and as they cook, they turn kind of more of a white color. So that's what I'm looking for. So my sauce is starting to boil, so I know that the everything's cooked. I'm just going to move it from the stove, and then I'm going to prepare my cheeses to get ready to layer my lasagna. So I always rinse my noodles. Any pasta that I do, you need to rinse it with room temperature to cold water. The reason we rinse it is we got to stop that cooking process. So I'm just going to pour these into a bowl. They've already been rinsed. And now I have my bowl of noodles ready to make my lasagna. So what I'm going to do is take my ricotta cheese. I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I'm going to crack an egg into the bowl. So I'm just going to kind of mix this with a whisk. And that's ready to go. So I just go up and under. So I'm going to take the top. I'm going to let it go underneath. And I like to weave. Let me just show you, I kind of crisscross the noodles. So they go up and over each one. And then they go the opposite on the next one. So this one goes under, up, under, up. And then the next one go under, up, under. So there we have it, our first layer of noodles. So once I got the noodles in, then I'm just going to add about 1/3 of my meat sauce. This is a ladle. That's the tool I'm using to scoop the meat in. I'm going to add a little bit of my So I'm adding my ricotta cheese, shredded mozzarella. You could use sliced mozzarella, but it's easier to work with. So I'm just going to add a little bit of mozzarella. There we go. Then I'm ready for my next layer. I'm going to do a total of 3 layers. So this one went under because the other one went over. So I go up. I'm just going to go under the middle and over. And under the sides, so we make a little weave. So on my top layer, I've spread the sauce around a little bit more. I want to make sure the noodles stay moist. I don't want them to get dried out from the cooking process. And then I'm going to make little dollops of cheese. So this is freshly grated Parmesan. I'm just going to get a little handful and just kind of sprinkle it around the top. And there we go. Lasagna is ready to bake and our oven is hot. So I'm putting it together. Just going to take a paper towel and clean off the edges so they don't burn.